Greetings. Welcome to Homebrew Highlights, a little show where I talk about homemade content for Dungeons & Dragons. My name is Nathan, and for the last 25 years online, I've gone by the name of the Amethyst Dragon. For more than 3 decades now, I've been a player and dungeon master, so I've made a lot of homebrew stuff in my time. Since I made the switch to 5th edition, the pace of that content creation has just jumped through the roof. And actually, I make so many homebrews now that I can't even use them in my 2 weekly campaigns that I run. I post them online for you to use, or anybody else. As of this moment, I believe there are 873 pieces of homebrew on my list. In this series of videos, I like to highlight some of the homebrews that I've made over the years, and I give some of the thoughts and inspiration that I had that led to the creation of them or while I was creating them. In these videos, I also like to go out and find homebrews that other people have made and highlight those, things that may not have gotten as much exposure, but stuff that I find interesting. This week is going to be actually all of my stuff, but it's all in response to what other people have posted online. So, inspired by others. Don't forget to like this video if you like these sort of things. Subscribe to my channel. And make it easier to find all my videos. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I post something new. And I'd really appreciate it if you shared a link to this video wherever you hang out with other people online or in person. Let them watch this, see if they like this sort of thing and want it in their games. Special thanks go out to my patrons who generously support the continual creation of more and more homebrews and of these videos, and links to everything that I mentioned will be found down below in the description, so you don't have to write it down as you're listening. So, like many people, I spend time on Reddit, more than I should, and a lot of that time is spent reading and posting on various Dungeons and Dragons related subreddits. Now, there's times when a Reddit post immediately sparks an idea for a new homebrew creation. So I jump right over to Notepad and code it in. And yes, I use Notepad to write HTML code because I'm old and that's the way it was done. Plus, it lets me have very, very fine control over how something looks in the end. And then I create images of those that DMs can use to print out and as handouts for their players, or they can use on virtual tabletops like Roll20 as virtual handouts there. For longer things, I make PDF files that can be printed out or just viewed on screen. For these posts on Reddit, I turn around and share a link directly on those so people can find the things that they inspired. So yes, today everything will be responses to what I saw on Reddit. The first couple of things here were in response to a single post by a user named Son of Tanith. And their post did not have a whole lot of information. They were just looking for ideas for items. And they had items types, 6 different item types, but not really information on what they would be. So I took it upon myself to make half a dozen common rarity magic items. I'm going to talk about a couple of them here, but I did make 6 of them for that. The first one here is what I call the Amulet of Divine Symbolism. It's just a simple wooden disc on a chain or cord, but as an action, you can turn it into a holy symbol for any deity you want. This is totally inspired by, and it does work as an arcane or a divine focus. This is totally inspired by Benny, a character in the 1999 movie of The Mummy. There's a point in the movie where he is pulling out these little symbols like the Star of David and crucifixes and stuff from around his neck, and he's saying prayers in different languages, hoping that something will save him from the thing that is currently scaring him. It's a mummy. But Benny inspired the Amulet of Divine Symbolism, a multi-purpose holy symbol. Another one that I made in response to this post from Son of Tanith, something I call the Ring of Motherly Reward. They just posted that it was a ring that had a dark liquid engraving around it. And a dark liquid that came to mind is wine. So what this ring does is when you wear it, it will conjure a glass of wine. Because I know a few mothers who, after a long day of parenting, could use a glass of wine. Or several, depending on their day. So every day this ring lets you conjure one glass of wine per offspring that you have living with you. So if you have a dozen kids living with you, if you need to, you can have a dozen glasses of wine throughout the day. But that is the Ring of Motherly Reward. Sounded fun to me. For this next one, a user that goes by the name of Brobbl, was looking for some ideas for some sort of item that a influential family might have. They had some players who were going to be possibly trying to steal this. And it would be some sort of item that the family had been able to hold on to and pass down for several generations that would give them power over the people of a city. So I came up with something that I call Revised History of Mental Studies, Volume 5. It looks like this old, very academic, rather dry text. Nothing that's really going to stand out from, other collections of books in a library. So it might not even, be noticed by people who are looking for something unusual. But this magical book allows the owner to cast Detect Thoughts so they can gather information for blackmailing people. It also lets you use Suggestion so you can get people to do what you want. And in the end, you can cast Modify Memory using this book. So people might not even remember that you influenced them. Or, you want them to remember, a relationship. Hey, we're good buddies, when really you weren't. But it is a powerful, powerful item in the right or wrong hands. And personally, if I were DMing this adventure and, had this book in there, I would say the family would have paid somebody to cast Nystel's Magic Aura on it. Or is it Arcanist Magic Aura for the SRD version? Because you can hide the magical aura of an item. And this is something that I think they'd want to specifically hide. I wouldn't do it with many magic items as a DM because that's just not fair to players. They can't find if the interesting stuff doesn't stand out somehow. But for something like this, that is definitely a plot device, I would make the players have to observe the members of this family, stake out, observation, hang out with them, get to know them, do something to make them earn being able to find this book and consequently steal it. On another literature-related idea, there is a Reddit user who goes by SlurpeeScientist. By the way, people, I love what you come up with your new usernames on Reddit. Some of them are incredibly imaginative. Now, SlurpeeScientist was going to be running an Alice in Wonderland themed adventure. And they were looking for some sort of teacup that could maybe be used as a weapon. So in response to this one, I created the Constant Cup. This is actually one that I've personally illustrated since I've taken up drawing last spring. But this is a magical teacup that is always filled with hot tea. You can drink out of it, but it can't be spilled. And this teacup, you can use it as a weapon. Melee weapon or a thrown weapon. Up to, I think, 30 feet. I put it in there. I don't remember that exact number. But when you hit something with this teacup, it breaks and inflicts a little bit of bludgeoning damage and a little bit of fire damage because the tea is a little too hot when you hit with it. And then at the end of your turn, It immediately vanishes and reappears in your hand, fully assembled and once again filled with hot, delicious tea. So you can take a drink out of it, or use it right away for an opportunity attack, or, it's ready to go for the next turn. So that is the Constant Cup for an Alice in Wonderland themed adventure. So, never know what you're going to end up with, or sometimes you can request something specific and it will appear. For another thing that I think, this one I'm not exactly sure about the post that inspired it, because I was unable to find it when I went looking for it to research my notes for today. But a Reddit user named Dhevan-Slaughter was, I seem to recall, looking for a magical necromancer staff. Now, my particular response wasn't exactly serious, but it's something that you could put in your game that you wouldn't be afraid to hand out to any level of spellcaster, really. It's the Staff of the Dramatic Necromancer. It's this black wooden staff topped with a skull, like a human skull that has not been bleached clean. It is stained. It might be brown. It might be a little moldy. Who knows? But it's not the prettiest thing in the world. This actually does work as a spellcasting focus for multiple classes: Arcane, Divine, Druidic. But its real power is that when you cast any necromancy spell, the staff is covered in these spooky but perfectly harmless purple flames. And red light begins to glow in the empty eye sockets of the skull, just to really carry forward that you are using necromancy. The visual lasts until the end of your turn if you cast a instantaneous spell, or if you cast a spell that has a longer duration, it stays as long as that spell is in effect. So you can have it for quite a while if you have something that lasts a minute, an hour, a day, depending on how long your necromancy spell lasts. You have a spiffy, dramatic point of interest with you. An accessory or focus. For another totally different thing, one of the things I like every year, I started it last year. It's been going on for several years. There's a Discord channel called Discord of Many Things for homebrew stuff. And every winter they do a Secret Santa where you send a thing into Santa that has a few different keywords for somebody else to make you a homebrew based on those keywords. And you'll get a list from somebody else. You make something for them. Another homebrew creator named TheSconeSalesman created a brand new subreddit last month called Brewjammer, r/Brewjammer. And there are monthly keyword prompts for us creative types to use to make for homebrews. The first of these, just last month, included the prompts of Quill, Turn the Tide, and Contaminant. I used all three of these, and I came up with something that I call the Quill of Turned Words. It is a magical writing quill that you can't normally write with, but you can use it to alter writing that somebody else has already done. You can make edits, you can change words, you can change phrases, you can change whole pages. And when you are done, the magic of the quill will move words around and to make space for what you wrote. And it will change your writing to match the original author's writing. It's really intended to contaminate the writing of somebody else, perhaps completely changing the meaning of it. You could take this wonderful love poem and end up being a insulting slam poem, which definitely, mostly, probably won't work as a love poem, depending on the person. But that is the Quill of Turned Words. For those interested, this month's prompts, Brewjammer, are Return, Dead Gods, and Cheer. I haven't made anything in response to this one yet, but I'll get around to it. It does go on for the whole month. kind of related to writing. I have this right here. So a user named Son of Dio 220 posted about a new campaign they'd be running that would have a bard player. And as DM, they were giving each player a starting magic item. And this bard wanted a piece of sheet music that could record spells onto it that were cast at them. I came up with what I call sampled notes. This is this really nice vellum, very durable, and when you are attuned to it and you are subject to a spell, and you fully experience that spell, it gets recorded as a bard spell that you can use. The next day, it erases itself at sunrise, fresh to use for another day, but if it is a spell you do not know and you get hit with it, and you fail the saving throw, because you need to fully experience that spell. If you fail the saving throw for it, or you take the damage from it, you're not resistant to the damage from a spell, it will write it in as a bard spell for you. Not for anybody else, just for you, but you can use your spell slots to cast it as many times as you want, if it's a low enough level spell for you to use. And I came up with the name of sample notes based on the practice of sampling, using parts of other people's great songs to maybe make an okay song. I'm not the biggest fan of sampling. Never have been. I do like when people make covers of, like, complete covers of songs in a totally different style. Recently, actually over the last few years, I've become a big fan of like metal covers of 80s songs. And even those might be covers of other songs. Depends on the song. Some songs have been covered many, many times. But sampled words is, off of the practice of sampling. A little bit of cross-inspiration there. Going away from items now, there was a thread started on D&D Next subreddit asking people what kind of warlock patron they would make if they could. I've gotten the feeling from that particular subreddit that it's not so much, if anybody could, but if they could get Wizards of the Coast to make what they want. I don't see a lot of homebrew over there. But one post in this thread by a user named TheWombatFromHell, God, I love these usernames, caught my attention because it was not the 100th person wishing for a dragon warlock patron. I've made one of those. Talked about it in my first video where I have dragon subclasses for everything, and there's probably 50, 100 other people who've also made dragon warlock patrons. But the Wombat from Hell was looking for something underground themed. Totally different. Got my attention, and I started thinking about The Thing Below. And a couple days later, I had it finished. Now, The Thing Below is a patron that could be any powerful creature that lives deep, deep underground. Could be a giant magical worm. It could be a divine or demonic being that has been trapped underground for, hundreds, thousands of years and really, really wants out and needs somebody to help it, and settles on, this warlock here. Now, the warlock of The Thing Below gets spells and features that are themed around underground travel or creatures that live underground. Things that creep and crawl and live in the dark and can sense things through stone. And they also get some spells for manipulating earth and fire, because go deep enough, you get earth and fire. At their highest feature level, 14th level, they get to polymorph themselves into a purple worm. Very strong, not necessarily the brightest, but definitely fun. So that is the warlock otherworldly patron of The Thing Below. Whatever that thing may be. Just a different idea that I really liked. Now, as far as spells go, spellcasting goes, a Reddit user by the name of Mr. E. Hunter, Mystery Hunter, asked about rope-based spells. They mentioned, there's so many things you can do with rope. It is incredibly versatile stuff. So what if you combine that with magic to make it even more versatile? And I came up with a spell called Arcane Lasso. You take your 50 feet of rope and using magic, hurl it out toward a target within 30 feet. And that rope is the material component of the spell and the focus for it. This is kind of a spell where I would definitely not allow somebody to just use an arcane focus for. You need the rope. But if you hit the target with the rope, you either pull the target to you, or if it is a lot bigger or heavier than you, you get pulled to the target. And if it's not too big, you immediately grapple the target as well. So, they're going to start their turn grappled. But that is Arcane Lasso. I can see this one being used in especially like a Western-themed campaign for it. Cowboy wizards or rodeo wizards. Somebody who, wants a better chance of, using this rope and getting hold of something. So that is Arcane Lasso that I made in response to Mr. E. Hunter's post about rope-based spells. I've got a few other rope-based spells on a list of ideas that I'll get to eventually. The list keeps growing. It grows faster than I use it up. But as you can tell from this video, I like dropping brand new, usable, totally complete homebrews on people. Might be a surprise, or it might be something they were asking for. The resulting creations might not be exactly what they were looking for, but I think they're fun and will be fun to drop into pretty much any campaign or one shot, especially like the Constant Cup for Alice in Wonderland. It's probably going to be a shorter campaign or a one shot. Now, I don't look at Reddit all day, every day. And some of these subreddits are really busy, so there's a lot of posts I don't see. But if your post happens to catch my attention at just the right time, you can get a little surprise when I respond with a finished homebrew. Well, if you like this type of D&D content, the homebrews, the video, remember to subscribe to my channel to more easily find the stuff I make, and share these videos with others that might like the same sort of thing. I think they're a good way to, have something to listen to while you're doing something else, or get to know, the thoughts behind some of the homebrews you find online. Now, to find all of my posted homebrews, all nearly 900 of them now, 873 as of today, be sure to check out my grand list of homebrew content. You can find that at www.amethyst-dragon.com. At least a third of the things that I posted are free for anyone to use. All the stuff that I've made in response to Reddit posts are also free. All the Reddit things and all the free things are marked on the list. Easy to find, see something and see if it's free or not. All the things on the list are available to my patrons, who, support the creation of new stuff for D&D. If you become a patron, it is very affordable, especially considering how much content you get access to. You get everything and all the new stuff because I post something new every 2 or 3 days. Some months it's daily. And if you're a higher level patron, you get access to everything 2 weeks earlier than everyone else. And you can even request that I make custom content specifically for your game. I do have a Discord channel. It's for patrons. It's also for anybody who just wants to stop by and chat about homebrew stuff. So, yeah, come on by. Even if you don't become a patron, I do thank you for stopping in to watch and listen to this video while I just talk about D&D stuff. And responding to other things that I find online. Tune in next week when I'll be looking at homebrews dealing with, I think I'll go with the food and drink categories. I've made quite a few, surprisingly. As an amateur baker, I make a lot of stuff related to food. My players know that. Anyway, that'll be next week. So, take care. Have a great week. Once again, this has been Homebrew Highlights. with the Amethyst Dragon. I'm going to go make some more homebrews. I'm going to homebrew some magic buttons. So, those will be showing up soon. Anyway, take care. I'll see you next week.